Good afternoon, Abbotsford residents. I'm Mr. Pelican, running for Mayor of Abbotsford. And the first thing we're going to do is get rid of the Abbotsford APD. A long overdue. Men and women that used uniform but attacked the Abbotsford residents, families, seniors, and everything. It was for an elite establishment. They were in organized crime using that uniform. Blocking elections, task force went after Councillor Mogale, the South Asian. Attacking our South Asians, everybody's got to call that out. It was white-collar crime. I believe it was Eric Nivel when he was running for mayor. He started a podcast. He started to outline the abuse of the Abbotsford police. Right there and then you knew Councillor Mogale's, where there was smoke, there was fire of Henry's corruption and this elite establishment to own this city. And it was the city officials that were blocking, cleaning, and it was a gang, just an ordinary gang. It was no longer a city. There was no longer, you could go in there. This transparency stuff was all under Henry. How he could manipulate the newspaper, his friends, and everything. It was to fill his back pockets. Nivel showed that the Abbotsford police were not allowing the South Asians to their board and they were blocking them. But that was all Henry. You could see it. You could see how Henry had to push on Mike DeYoung. He needed him in. He asked George Perry. He asked John Van Doggen. He asked Ed Fast. You could see there was no South Asians, not even Dave Sadu, supporting him. I showed you when I came in as mayor, the first thing I'm going to do is waive small business tax. I'm going to go after the business association. I'm going to go after Archway Community Services that raised the name of the money and the name of the flood victims as a non-profit. When it made profit, went and bought real estate and how it was tied to Ross Siemens. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring the RCMP into Abbotsford, and that will open them forensic audits that Darren Braun laid what his dad was doing. When Darren Braun opened his mouth of what his dad was doing, it was the bunker buster bomb that was long overdue for Abbotsford, opening all the doors. And how his dad was loading Ross Siemens, and that would help Ron Funka diverse. I showed you the infrastructure of Abbotsford. The municipality has failed it. Henry was going after a big infrastructure, that the dikes and the floods, to fill his boots and fill his friends' boots. I showed you the other night on a live podcast that the Abbotsford treatment centers for sewer is long overdue for upgrades, roads, garbage, and infrastructure. Henry was pushing with his elite friends in the city that were working the backroom deals. Rob Isaac, city manager, the community plan. We got to keep the community plan. But the community plan, before you could even mention and get Vicky Hopes to write it, you should have been bringing up the infrastructure. You should have brought up a sewer treatment. We're going to have 80,000 new people here, and you got no sewer. What are they going to do? All poo in a bucket, and you're going to carry it to the veteran, dump it in? It was long overdue. It was community plan. Rob Funk's he's got to have that piece of property. We got to get Rob Funk on the Carroll Ranch. We got to get my developer friend. Come on, Brad, where are you? Today, I want to bring you a news story. I'm at the Abbotsford Fire Department. The fire department should have became first as the first responders. They should be first to be looked after, them and the ambulance. The fire department more. The fire department should not be looking after the homeless and going down there. Using their very little resources that they got and their manpower that a lot of people are volunteered for, but these crybabies on the Abbotsford police, can we get a new building? Can we, gangs? I tell you, there's gangs of fentanyl and get a new building. I'm in uniform. Can I race the cars? Can I go out and beat somebody? Can I get my gun? Get my badge? Oh, look at me. I'm the Abbotsford APD. Spoiled brats that were running a mob. We got to put a stop to them, and we're going to put a stop. We're going to come in hard. Real hard. We're going to clean this up. We're going to draw the line in the sand like there's never been. The fire department are the first responders. The fire department needs to have, under official community plan, it needs more manpower and it needs more fire halls. It needs the DCCs that are collected on construction costs, like Ron Funk's illegal, changing from 400 to 200. The fire department understood that that was a 200 unit. How did it change to 400? Well, I asked Dave Lowens and Ross Siemens when he was the councillor, and Sandy Blue and Brenda Falk, change it. Ron Funk needs 400. We need the fire department under the DCCs to get more men, these high-rises that are coming up, more fire departments, more everything. We got to bring up the infrastructure of Abbotsford under its municipality, and it's not. It's failing, and it's failing bad. Oh, look it. Can I get another one from Brad Viss? Brad, can you go cry about them floods? The first responders are here. These are beautiful, hard-working men of Abbotsford. And not only of Abbotsford, of every municipality. They ask for very little in return. And they pour their hearts out where the Abbotsford Selfish Police Department, look at us, I want to make the news on gangs, beat Abbotsford community. These men are worked their asses off, as I tell you. They're volunteers. We need to get more men here. We need to collect the DCCs. We need to work with my fire marshal. We need to make sure that our fire marshals got the adequate equipment and more manpower for Abbotsford. Not only that, they're looking after a lot of the stuff they shouldn't be. The homeless should be police department, and it should be the welfare and mental health. The fire department's always there to step up. They're getting very little help. They're not even recognized to be talking about the official community plan. Rob Isaac and Peter Sparanese, don't worry about that. I got Ron Funk coming in. The big Funkster Meister, he's got Sage lined up, then he's got another one. We're gonna get this open, and we're gonna collect them DCCs off of these developers, and we're gonna make sure that there's more fire halls. We're gonna make sure that these men are front at the table of every Abbotsford meeting with the mayors and Abbotsford residents of what they need, so there's no more shortage of manpower, there's no more shortage of anything. And with this elaborate construction bill that's being forced down Abbotsford, these men are not even being consulted of what needs to be done. And we're going to build official community plans, bring 80,000 people to Abbotsford and everything else. No, that's not going to happen. As your mayor of Abbotsford, my fire marshal's going to be standing right beside me. And when he says he needs money and he needs resources, they're going to be on that table. And when he says he's stepping in to do the work on them homeless because of mental health and everything, he's going to have them resources, he's going to have that, and he's going to get that help. And these DCCs that are collected are not going to go into the back pockets of Henry Braun and his little establishment friends so they can go and, oh, we need rocks held. You imagine all the rocks that went on Gladys Avenue at taxpayers' money, all that money that was frauded under Ross Siemens, all that, thousands of dollars. And these men don't get enough money, and they're supposed to volunteer for free pay. You imagine the $12.4 million that Ross went out and took out of your Citibank account to buy that glass building. So he was setting up a new plan with Henry. We're gonna knock down the city of Abbotsford, the city hall, and build one for $200 million. That money should have went to these men to keep them up and running, and it ain't going to them. I'm going to make sure that forensic audits come into Abbotsford like there's no other. You think Revenue Canada can audit? You think the federal government can audit? What I learned from Darren Braun, the first thing we're going to do is go after Ron Funk. We're going to go after the Funkster Meister like there's no tomorrow. He was Henry's official buddy, his pal, and his partner, Ron Funk of Diverse. And then we're going to go after Archway Community Services, Rob Santiago. And we're going to get that money. He was buying real estate, and he was lifting lands and jobs and taking that flood money, and we're going to get it back for Abbotsford. So the Abbotsford residents, this is what your mayor's supposed to be doing. Now, Ross Siemens, did you see him the other night? Oh, I want to hold up. The Canucks won. And if you look at this Canucks winning here in Abbotsford, you know who's behind him? Let me tell you who's posting it out. Not Ross Siemens' wife, not Ross Siemens' children, not Ross Siemens' dad. No, Dave Lowens. Dave Lowens is Henry's lackey. You got to keep Ross, then telling Ross and convincing Ross we're behind him. Every time Ross toots out the back of his pants, Dave Lowens is tweeting it out. Look at him. I told you the other night, you'd see no BC Conservatives with the mayor. You see no nothing. And Dave Lowens is told by Henry, you got to stay there. You got to help Ross up. Ross is in so much trouble. Ross was in organized crime. He covered Henry's hit and run. Henry got in his Alexis car, left the city of Abbotsford, ladies and gentlemen, came right at me, proceeded to run me over, fled from the scene of the accident, dumped his Alexis car and sold it, went and bought a Cadillac, then asked the Abbotsford Police Department, the whole police department upstairs, under Mike Sears. Let me finish my term, Mikey, so I can load everything for Ross Siemens, the community plan, Mikey. And let me hold it so Ross can get in, and then I'll step out. The Abbotsford Police were pushed on and were begged on to charge Henry Braun. And they came up with this thing, unless we charge, you hear the Abbotsford Police? Unless we charge, charges don't go forward. We're running the law. We're running the whole of Canada, the Abbotsford APD. So this long holiday weekend, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do another video tomorrow night for you. You'll see the Abbotsford Police trying to be out. We're going to go out after drinking drivers on Canada. We're going to do everything to promote the company. Go stick your head in the toilet bowl, Watts, and flush it. And that's where you need to be. You need to be flushed down the toilet. No citizen should have to stand up and do the part of an investigation and ask for witnesses and everything else over your crap hole, garbage, manipulating, belly-aching police department, running around with guns and misusing Abbotsford. All you do is cry. You failed Abbotsford, you failed residents, and you know that I'm hell-bent on what you did and what your task force did to take you out. And I know Henry's behind you, I know Ed was behind you, you know Vicky Hopes, you know the whole thing, because Darren Braun opened his mouth. So I pack up, Watts, call quits, and pay Abbotsford's its money's back that you've been frauded. And take the assistant police chief with you. It's just a garbage shit show of Abbotsford. And we need men that stand for Abbotsford and are called first responders. And that's here, Abbotsford's Fire Department. I'm live, Abbotsford, British Columbia.